Welcome back, everybody, to another week. Hello, Matt. How are you today?
Hello.
You're good? You good over there?
Yeah, no, we're fine. I had to boot on my PC twice.
Ooh.
I don't know what happened there, so whoops. Didn't mean to open that.
Whoopsie daisy. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode, another week. Hope you've been okay this week. I'm burnt out today. I'm burnt out this week. I am very tired.
I had a lot on.
I realised yesterday, since download in June, I have not had a single weekend where I'm not doing something. So for 2 months straight, I've not stopped. I was like, oh wait, no, there was that little weekend gap. Oh no, did something that weekend in the end. A bit of a spontaneous thing. And it's kind of all of a sudden hit me yesterday. Like, I went to the gym and I was just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I'm so tired. And then I was me and Jacob obviously talking about moving in together at some point, and I said to him, we're going to need an extra...
Oi.
I was like, we're going to need an extra bedroom. And for anyone listening may think, oh, because they want to have kids someday. No, I don't want kids. It's
No, my first thought was guests.
No, I need a...
Man cave.
No. This is for me. I need a room to go in when I'm burnt out. Like, because it happens quite I need a sensory room. I need that room to have my books in, so my bookshelf in there, an egg chair, a galaxy light, a mini fridge so I can put my wine and my coffee and my snacks in there. And it's like, if I'm having a moment and I'm stressed and I'm overstimulated or I'm burnt out like today, I'm going to just go in there and no one's allowed to disturb me. That's what that means. And I feel like that will keep me sane. I feel like that's a very good idea. And I'm very excited about building my sensory room now.
Or sex dungeon.
No. Not my street.
Oh.
Not for me. No, thank you.
Well, there's always a first. You never know. Once you build it, you might go, you know what, it's built now. I've got to use it.
No. Sensory room. My relaxing room.
No, that's... I can understand that. I think everyone could deal better with having a room where they can just go in. Not a room that's got, like, nothing in it. A room where you can just breathe and just relax and let all the stress go. Surrounded by the things you enjoy. Yeah. Peace, quiet.
Like... just a room where you don't have to do anything. You can just read. You can just read. Go into your little fantasy world and chill. That's all I want. That will be my place. That will be my safe haven. I've already said it's gonna be blackout curtains. It's gonna be like nice colourful lights in there to keep me nice and chilled. And it's gonna be nice and relaxing. That's where I like little fake plants go. So it's very nice and a little bit colourful, but it's like chilled. I just want that, because right now my desk and everything is in my bedroom, so I technically can't even go in my bedroom to relax. So yeah, my desk is in my bedroom.
Reading's a good pastime. I've took up reading again, the books that I have, and it's quite a good relaxing pastime to do. I know some people don't like reading because it's a lot of effort, actually having to get a book and focus and read on it, but I find reading is a very good pastime to take yourself into another fantasy world. I know people do that with watching TV shows and stuff, but,
I feel like
books are just another way to do that.
I feel like reading just sends you into the fantasy world a bit more, though, because it's your own imagination taking place with what you think it would look like based on what you're reading, and I love it.
Oh, and unless you're reading a book, I'm reading a Star Wars book right now, so I'm already the picture's kind of there. But like you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I finished a book the other day. Very, very good. It was the new Chris Carter book, so if anyone likes fictional crime, recommend all of Chris Carter's Robert Hunter series. Love it. I think it's amazing. Read the latest book of that. Finished that, got that out of the way, and then I remembered I had another book that I started reading, but I had one of those moments where I lost my place, and I was like, right, no, I'm not stressing myself out trying to find the place. I was like, you know what, I really want to finish this book now. Found where I left off eventually, which was great. But now I'm nearing the end of that, and it's very fantasy kind of based, definitely very fantasy. I love it when it's like that, so I'm in my own little world with it. And because I go to the gym quite a fair bit, I do cardio at the end of it, and cardio's fucking boring. It's the most boring task. I hate it. And in the past, I would start cardio, and I'd be like, right, now I'm going to do 15 to 20 minutes of this. That's it. I get 5 minutes in, I'm going, you know what, should just call it 10 minutes. I'm fucking bored. Like, I'm bored. It's so annoying. So I've started taking my book to the gym with me, and I start reading when I'm doing cardio, and it flies by. Time just flies by out of nowhere. It's great. I'm just loving it. So okay, I'll be reading my book, and I'll look at how long I've been doing like cardio for, and I'll go, oh shit, 15 minutes have passed. Oh, I can push it to 20. I'm in a good bit of the book right now. It fucking works. It's brilliant. I've got more cardio done in the past week and a bit than I have done in the past God knows how many months. Sick. New hack. There you go. You like reading and you go to the gym. There you go. Sorted. But
nice.
Yeah, after we've done recording this, I'm going to go back and finish the book because we're getting to the end. And I swear to God, right, this book, very different topic. We never talk about books, but this book, right, it went viral for a brief period of time, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm intrigued. So I picked it up, and also a good hack as well. If you are someone who likes reading but you don't want to pay Waterstones prices, recommend just going to your local supermarket, because Sainsbury's and Tesco's and stuff like that have their book section, and it's way cheaper. Like, this book is like £11-12 in Waterstones. It was £4 in Sainsbury's. I was like, buying. So I picked up, it's called Powerless. It's great. Very fictional based, and it's one of those where you can tell these two characters, they want to get together. There's 500 pages in this book, right? I feel like this book is just edging as a description. This is just edging, because I swear to God, they'll get to the point where something's about to happen between them, and then something happens that stops it. And I swear to God, I've got less than 100 pages left. Nothing has happened. Stuff's happened where it's been like, oh my God, are they about to finally kiss? Are they about to finally? And then they just don't. And it's killing me. And I swear to God, if I finish this book and they haven't, I'm messaging the author so quick and just going, you're mean. You're mean. What? Evil. Satan, it was right there. Satan wrote this book. Satan wrote this book. That's what it's fucking done. I'm going to be so annoyed.
I've been told from my girlfriend there's a lot of good books that are out, and from the ones I see at my work as well. I am in the process of, I'm going to have to start a Goodreads account so I can track the books I have and actually review them, because usually when I get into stuff I have a lot to say about it, so why not review the books that I read? And I have quite a lot, so I've not got any duplicate books, but
there's loads of apps where you can I've got one just so I can keep track of what books I'm reading, because I like to actually keep, because sometimes I've got so many books at home, I'll be like, oh, which one do I read next? And I pick up one, and then I start reading it, and I realise I've already read it. So it's a very good app to have, so I can keep track of it. It's called Bookshelf. It's great. Not sponsored. There's no sponsors on this one.
I think I've heard of that one. Goodreads was just the one that I heard lots of people had used. So
Goodreads is good. Bookshelf is a good app to have, because you can just log everything in your library, and you can press play when you start reading it, and it times you as you're reading it. So by the time you press stop, you'll know whereabouts you're up to, and then you can review it all you want, kind of thing. It also tells you roughly how many hours you've got left of the book as well.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's called Bookshelf. It's pretty good. It's free. No, I love it. It's helped me keep track. And you can also put books. Yeah, you can log it by that you've read it, or you want to read it, or you are reading it, so you can log it on either one. So I've got a few in my library that I've not read but I want to, and the ones that I have read are all ticked off, and the ones that I'm currently reading have a rough timer of how long I've got left of it left. definitely recommend that. It's also got wish lists as well, so you can put your wish list in there. And also, if anyone wants cheap books, I like secondhand books. I'm not too fussed about getting them like pristine new. I'm not really that arsed. There's a website, if you're in the UK, called World of Books. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's secondhand books on this website. Free delivery on everything. It doesn't matter how much you spend, it's free delivery. But it's 3 for 2 on all books. And they're like £2 or £3 a book or something like that. So you get so it's 3 for 2. Wait, is it 3 for 2? I swear it might be a bigger deal, because it's World of Books. Like, I've spent so much money, but you spend I think I spent like a tenner at a time. It's buy 3, get another free on pre-loved books. They're under £10, and they're all under £10, and it's free delivery. So if you like your reading, recommend that. You can also buy old games on there as well. Just saying, I've bought some old DS games on this, and old PlayStation games from my PS3 on this website. It's fucking brilliant. Highly recommend that website.
Nice. I don't mind either. I just get my books secondhand. I a lot of them from the charity shop.
Yeah, I've done that quite a few times. But yeah.
Well, it's better because some of the books I've picked up, they're not selling, obviously, anymore in shops. Yeah. And I wouldn't have known about them unless I somehow Googled a specific type of book and looked and searched online. So that's why I like the charity shops, where I can go in and just random books pick my eye, and then I go, oh, there we go. And then that's another one to read. And size doesn't really matter for me. I've picked up books that are quite chunky, but I've picked up really short books as well. But, any book I feel like's good just to get me going.
If anyone likes fictional crime, definitely, Chris Carter. Because he used to be a criminal psychologist at one point, and now he writes fictional books. And I will point out, because I've met the man, and I went to his Q&A, and someone asked him about... Because some of his books are very, very gruesome. They are very detailed with the murders. It is horrific sometimes. And someone asked him about that in general, and he just went, I'm not going to lie, I've written my most grotesque and disturbing books when I was in a very, very dark place. So his first book is very dark and gruesome, and he wrote that when he was homeless. And then there's another book that he wrote after his partner passed away, and then another one that he'd written, I think when he was in depression after his partner passing away. So it's like, he writes fucking dark shit. He's funny. He's a funny guy to meet, but it's very, very dark, very interesting, makes you question every single thing that's happening in the book when it leads up to trying to find the killer. It's fucking brilliant. But speaking of murders, what murders or crimes in general are we discussing today, Matt? This is your week.
Yes, it's my week again, and I think this case I picked, I think I'd seen it before, but it cropped up when I was searching for cases. I think I saw this last year, but I decided to search for cases in an ever interesting country. Always absolutely fascinated by this country, so I've done a few cases. I think I've done 2. No, maybe I've only done 1 or 2, but I went back to the land of the rising sun and looked at some cases from there, and there was loads I've actually found. I don't know how to...
You glitched out for 2 seconds.
Yeah, is my mic fine? Hang on.
Your mic is not fine.
What about now?
Nope. La 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 la. It's not this podcast without a fuck up happening.
What about now?
Yeah, there you go. You good?
Yeah, no, actually, I don't know how to say this. Yanks the cable out. I think I've maybe meant this beforehand, but I feel like in certain countries, the way people think, and I know this sounds weird, but you know what I mean, in the sense of a serial killer's mind, there's certain countries where the serial killers operate or think in this different kind of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, a serial killer from the UK, and then, like, if we find, like, a serial killer from Germany, we wouldn't have, like, the same sort of mindset, if that makes sense. I know we're all human, but I feel like different countries and the way people are as humans are slightly different.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Which is why, well, I'm assuming you know what country we're talking about.
Germany.
No, I said the land of the rising sun.
Oh. Actually,
Japan.
Yeah. Right, okay, so when we do... Okay, so one thing people clearly might not know, obviously, getting cases from Japan is quite difficult.
Yes. Well, there is information out there, but I don't know how much detail you can get for stuff, because obviously what gets put out there, I'm assuming, by whatever country, can sometimes be limited to what they want to release to the public.
Yeah, and in Japan, it's very common for them to just not put anything out there.
Yes. Obviously, I think some people do that so that the country doesn't look as bad as it is for media, etc. But you can kind of get what I meant when I mean, like, the way people think. And I know people could say, well, obviously, I'm probably saying that because Japanese people seem quite advanced. It seems like it's a completely advanced country, so many things. But every single serial killer we've covered so far, or that I've seen from Japan, just thinks so totally differently. This whole other messed up kind of mind than us Westerners. And I think you'd probably agree.
Yeah.
Because the ones I covered back were absolutely horrific. Now, this one is a massacre, but I have to talk about the person themselves. And when I was researching this, I was like, whoa, this is fucking ridiculous. So I think I'm saying it right. I will just get I know it's an easy word, but for the sake of respect, I don't like to pronounce it wrong. That should be in... Where are we? HIG. Here we go. Ikeda. So we're talking about the Ikeda School Massacre. Perpetrated by the evil motherfucker who is known as... Mamoru Takuma. Or as in Japanese, it's Takuma Mamori. It has it the other way around. But Mamoru Takuma. So the Ikeda School Massacre, which is strap yourselves in for this because it's absolutely horrible. So as for a disclaimer, this is a school massacre. There is young children that do die in this, as you're probably aware. So if you do not like being stabbed, seriously wounded, or the thought of anyone getting murdered in a school vicinity, then clearly this is not the one for you. I think we talked about some abuse. I'm not sure what else we need to mention. I'm just flying through, but that's the main one. So we do have to talk about, stabbings, that sort of thing. So if you do not like young children dying or kids being stabbed, this is not for you. And if there's anything I missed, I will obviously mention it when it comes up. But yes, the Ikeda School Massacre, perpetrated by Mamoru Takuma, who, looking at him, I don't know if anyone has seen this photo before. He's got a kind of whack hairstyle in a couple of photos. It's just like bush. Like, it just bushes up.
Yeah,
but, in that, I don't know. Well, not in the main one, and a couple of other ones. He's got just hair that, like, not like the typical, I find. I know Japan has, like, sometimes a lot of people that have the stereotypical sort of hairstyle, but that seems like totally different. But yeah, I mean, there's evil in that. I especially that one of him when he is getting into a vehicle. I'm not sure what that is, and he is staring at the camera. That's some like evil eyes and that shit. But yeah, so I will talk about the massacre. Well, obviously, I'll talk about his background and stuff as well. So yes. strap yourselves in, because this is not a nice case. So we'll talk about the bio of Mamoru and the school itself. So he is, as I said, born. His name is Mamoru Takuma. He was born on the 23rd of November in 1963 in Itami, Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. Now, this was I saw this in a video, and this kind of interested me, actually, because it was a video I saw where it was explaining what cities are, and it was like Japan technically doesn't have like cities because of some weird way of like how they claim what an actual city is. I mean, the video mentioned that how the UK works. You have to have technically a cathedral before you have a city, and how Scotland only has 7 cities, I think. But he mentioned Japan, how Tokyo might not be classed as one because of all this stuff. But every time we do a case, prefecture comes up when it comes into Japan, and I guess it's like counties in a way, but I always get confused when we do cases and it says Hyogo Prefecture. It just says the kind of county. It doesn't say like anywhere near a city or anything. So I'm not sure where. I'm not sure where exactly this is in relation to Osaka, because it is so Ikeda is a city. It's within Osaka, which is actually fucking massive. So that's where we are. So that's where he was born in Itami in the Hyogo Prefecture in Japan, but this happens in Ikeda in Osaka. He's not alive anymore. I'm just going to say that now. He's not alive. He died at the age of 14, September 14th, 2004, and he died in the Osaka detention house in the Osaka Prefecture in Japan. I don't know anything about Japanese prisons. I do not know how bad they are. I'm assuming they are not nice. I can't remember what it was. I was seeing stuff in the news recently, and it was like inside certain prisons, because in the UK, and I think in Scotland as well, prisons are being overrun. Too many people are being put into prisons now. But from some of the prisons I've seen as of recent and what the inside looks like, I mean, you could see that's someone's actual bedroom in the normal house. Not to be, I'm not trying to like, bash anything like, bash fucking the prison system. But come on, some of the niceness they're getting in them rooms. I am not liking that. I'll actually quickly just look now in the Osaka detention house. I doubt we'll be able to see in the inside. Whoa, is that the cell? Nah, that can't be the cell. That's not the cell, is it? That's fucking huge. Whoa, okay. I'm surprised. Well, apart from it says inmates fear virus infection in cells, but if that's the cell inside the Osaka detention house, that is a fucking massive cell. You could literally, you could play a decent game of like dodgeball in that. That is a ridiculous. And the bathroom actually has its own door on it. Wow, okay. So he isn't alive anymore. Well, I'll explain how he dies later, but this attack occurred on June 8th of 2001 at 10:15 a.m. in Ikeda in the Osaka prefecture in Japan. The target was the Ikeda Elementary School, and a lot of people did die. There was 15 injured, 8 people killed, mostly students and staff, particularly girls. And yeah, this attack types, it's a mass stabbing, school stabbing, mass murder. pedicide and a femicide, because a pedicide is killing of young people and femicide is the killing of females. And this is absolutely fucking sickening. There was 8 people killed and 15 injured, and we'll explain what goes on. It is absolutely nuts. So we'll have to talk about the early life of Mamoru Takuma. So as I mentioned, he was born on the 23rd of November 1963 in Atami, Hyogo Prefecture in Japan. As a child, he displayed unusual and antisocial behavior. At the age of 3, he rode his tricycle towards the center of a highway, causing traffic jams, and habitually killed small animals by wrapping them in newspapers and lighting them on fire. And again, another case of killing small animals as a child. Seems to be a big sign in a lot of cases. They kill small animals. And also, I didn't understand, he's 3 and he rode his tricycle towards the center of a highway. Where's the parenting there? One, I mean, I know Japan is like absolutely hustle bustle, but if he's driving on a highway or going towards a highway on a fucking tricycle, that's bad parenting. From elementary school to junior high, I'm not sure how old that is, Takuma was both a victim and perpetrator of bullying. He expressed envy and jealousy for, as in quotation marks, highly educated and high-income elite from an early age. Takuma was both physically abused and neglected by his father, whom he contemplated stabbing to death in his sleep. In February 1979, Takuma enrolled in high school in Amagasaki, but dropped out in March 1981. He worked part-time at a petrol station for several months until enlisting in the Japan Air Self-Defense Force at the end of 1981 at age 18. However, Takuma was discharged in January 1983 for boarding and sleeping with a teenage runaway. His relationship with his parents worsened following the discharge, and there were incidents in which his father beat him with stones, which I think is ridiculous. I'm not going to, people have their own opinions on disciplining children and whatnot, but stoning a child, like, that's far. That's too far.
Oh yeah, without a fucking doubt. That's way too
like stoning is a thing where like you do that to like prisoners or someone who's acted in a horrible crime. But if you're stoning your actual child,
I mean, yeah, to prisoners like centuries ago, surely. I don't think anyone's doing that now.
But that was in about 1983.
Yeah, I mean, no one's using that as like a prison punishment now, surely. I'd hope not. I'd hope not.
Takuma, in turn, threatened to enlist in the Yakuza to mess up their lives. Now, the Yakuza is like a gang, like one of the one of like elite gangs. What is it? Yes, here we go. Yakuza, also known as Gokyodu, the Extreme Path, are members of transnational organized crime syndicates originating in Japan. Are known for the strict code of conduct. Their organization, FIFA nature, and several unconventional ritual practices such as this. Several unconventional ritual practices such as Yubitsumi, which is a Japanese ritual to atone for offences to another, a way to be punished or to show sincere apology or remorse to another by means of amputation portions of one's own little finger. In modern times, they're primarily performed by the Yakuza as one of the most prominent Japanese criminal organizations. So that's horrible. If they were unable to pay off a gambling debt, they'd sometimes consider an alternative form of repayment by cutting off the top of their pinky. And they're also amputation of the left little finger. Members are often portrayed as males with heavily tattooed bodies. And yeah, the gangs are like dodgy, but like, I'm gonna cut off your pinky. Ouch. So he considered enlisting in that so that he could be in that gang and he, to quote, mess up their lives. In 1984, Takuma and his mother left the family home and purchased an apartment, leaving his oldest brother and father by themselves. They lived together for a year and a half until his father came back for his wife. In February 1999, Takuma's brother, facing bankruptcy, and sad but warning, died by suicide by slashing his neck with a knife. I think that's horrible. I know that it's hard for people when they face bankruptcy, but suicide is never the right way. And his father was hospitalized due to drunkenness after the incident, but according to Takuma in the detention center, he said, quotation marks, "I wanted him to commit suicide like Tsutomu Miyazaki's father." Now, we actually covered Tsutomu Miyazaki before. He was the one, you remember Miyazaki? He was the one that abducted and killed the girls that were aged from 4 to 7 and dismembered them and molested the corpses.
Yeah.
And also engaged in cannibalism.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's one of the worst cases I've ever covered. And he's one of the most fucked up people from Japan. Probably the most fucked up, in my opinion, that I've known of. But we covered that ages ago. And that's why I said earlier how the brains think. Because, like, that's another level of fucked up. You know, and what Takuma does as well is another level of messed up. But, you know, according to Takuma, he said, "I wanted his father to commit suicide like other serial killers' father, Miyazaki's father." And Takuma's mother had a lifelong struggle with mental illness and died in late 2016. His father died in April of 2020, aged 88. The former Takuma residence in Itami was demolished in September 2020. The site is currently vacant. Now, I don't know if they just demolished that after you just thinking, well, this was the residence of a serial killer. We need to demolish it anymore. I do not know what the rules are in Japan. But we've talked about it before, how in the UK at least, some places that have been former houses for killers are still up, still available to buy, but there's a few cases where they've had to knock them down. I think due to severity, isn't it?
Maybe.
I don't know how it works, but it got demolished in September of 2020 and the site is currently vacant.
Fair. Most likely then.
So we need to talk about his criminal history, because he does have criminal history leading up to this, quite a decent bit. So on the 25th of November 1984, Takuma, and warning, raped a woman while collecting rent for a condominium management company. After the incident, believing the woman had filed a complaint to the police, he consulted a psychiatrist with his mother on the 12th of December, and he complained about hearing hallucinations, quotation marks, feeling that he's plunged into someone, and other complaints. The hospital initially diagnosed him with anxiety, but later said it was schizophrenia in the medical certificate, and in response to police inquiries. Now, I don't understand how you can diagnose someone with anxiety and then realize it was schizophrenia. I feel like with schizophrenia, it's quite easy to know if someone has it or not. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you complain about hearing...
I feel like it's the same as any mental illness, to be honest. It might just be like different scales, different levels.
Well, he did say he was complaining about hearing hallucinations. So, maybe, you know... But I feel like the fact the hospital just went, oh yeah, it's anxiety, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like the most brush off, I can't really be arsed figuring out what's wrong with you, it's probably anxiety, there you go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but to be fair...
When people have worse problems and they just go, it's anxiety to make them feel less bad, to be like, oh, everyone gets anxiety, I'm fine. When in reality, they're not.
I hate people who say that everyone has anxiety and people just need to get over it. It's like, dude, there's different severities. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but that's what probably they were trying to make him feel like, oh, you just got anxiety, other people have that, or they were trying to make it seem that it wasn't as bad of a thing. And I know there's definitely different levels of severity of anxiety and loads of situations. Even one of the, I hated it when I had social anxiety. One of the killers being out in public and they say, go up to that person, or you need to go up to speak to someone, and you just can't. I had that, and it was bad. Like, because I don't know how other people dealt with it, but I would be in public and they go up to speak to someone, and I just couldn't, and I'd sit and I'd wait, and I'd like sit back, and I'd be like trying to wander around and just look like I'm doing something, and just inside me I'm feeling myself pushing and escaping my body, but I'm just not going there, and it would take me forever, and the time would be up and that would be it, and it'd be like, fuck. It's just such a horrible thing. I'm better now, and I'm so glad, but like having social anxiety is one of the worst things. And people don't understand. They're like, why'd you not go up and talk to him? Why'd you not go up and speak to that person? And you're like, you don't want to say, oh, I'm scared, I'm anxious.
I don't even go into, like, if I'm meeting up with people, and I still do this now, like, I think there's only one place that I can actually think of that I go into without other people, and that's this dive bar that I go to quite often. That's only because I go there that often, and I'm actually like friendly with the bouncer and stuff now, and some of the bartenders, so I feel comfortable. But in any other situation, like if my friend's like, oh, we'll meet at this place, if I'm going on my own, say Jacob's not coming out with me, and I'm meeting everyone else, I will stand outside where we're meeting or close to it, and I won't go in there. She's like, oh, just go in without us and get yourself a drink. I'm just like, no, not doing it.
Yeah, I get that too sometimes.
Like, no, I'm not doing it. And it's like every single time. Like, I will not do it. I will stand and wait on the corner. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's raining. I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, because just having someone go in with you makes it more safe.
It's not that it makes because it's not about safety though. It's just I don't like it. I just don't like being sat there on my own. I don't do well with it.
Oh, well, for me, it gives me that extra sense of safety, because if it's somewhere where I haven't really been, if I go in there and it's a totally different environment and there's people around me I don't really know, just having someone else there I can speak to, and then we're both experiencing it at the same time, you know, for me. I'm a bit better now going into like new places myself, but there's always that like still going in there and then be like, crap, what do I do? Everyone's around me, people look at me, uh-oh, sort of thing. But yeah, they diagnosed him with diagnosed him with anxiety, but later stated it was schizophrenia. And Takuma, who was placed in a closed ward, was dissatisfied with his care. On the 4th of January 1985, he jumped from the roof of the hospital's 5th floor in a suicide attempt, but instead fractured his mandible and maxilla. He later wrote to his mother that he was hospitalized to avoid being pursued by the police in a rape case, and jumped off the 5th floor to, quotation mark, harass his parents. After being discharged from the hospital, Takuma decided to commit even more crimes for, quotation marks, revenge on the world. Later, the doctor in charge of Takuma's psychological examination stated that it may have strengthened his resentment towards society. In November 1986, Takuma was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the rape charge. While in prison, he jumped out of the hospital ward, explaining in a letter to his mother that he did it because she would not cooperate regarding his discharge. He demanded that his parents pay for his living expenses after release. His father refused, citing Takuma's lack of remorse, and told them that he would hand over the money he traded in for his personal belongings to disown him. After his release from prison in March 1989, Takuma moved to Ikeda and found work driving buses and trucks. His co-worker described him as a quiet and unremarkable man, but a bit of a loner who did not like dealing with customers. Takuma testified in a later psychological examination that he caused 2 fatal car accidents, one when he was a dump truck driver and the other when he was a semi-trailer truck driver. In the first incident, while transporting industrial waste in the mountains, Takuma drove in front of another truck and suddenly pressed the brake pedal on a downward turn, causing a collision. All of the passengers of the other truck died the next day. He lied about the cause of the crash and was not indicted on any charges. In the second incident, while driving near the Metropolitan Expressway, Takuma caused a motorcyclist to fatally collide with a side wall. He immediately left the scene. In September 1993, Takuma was again arrested for rape. In 1998, he was fired after assaulting a bus passenger over the smell of her perfume. Absolutely fucking stupid. He found a new job as a maintenance man at Itami Elementary School, 6 kilometers away from Ikeda. Later that year... Oh, hang on, I lost my place. Later that year, Takuma was arrested on suspicion of assaulting his ex-wife. On March the 3rd, 1999, Takuma dissolved temazepam, a tranquilizer, into the tea served in the teacher's room, sending 4 people to the hospital for 3 days. I hate people that just fucking put stuff in people's drinks and spike and shit. Why? Why have you got to do that? It's fucking horrible. Regarding the incident, he said, in quotation marks, "I was ignored by the teachers and did not go well with my family, and I wanted to relieve my anger due to human relationships." Takuma was arrested but not criminally punished and was found not responsible due to mental illness. In November of 1999, Takuma was arrested on suspicion of burglary, but the charges were dropped. He managed to get a job as a taxi driver in September 2000, but was fired the following month after he assaulted a hotel bellhop in Osaka, breaking his nose. In November of 2000, Takuma got a job as a truck driver at a construction materials company in Ikeda, but was fired a few months later due to problems including a road rage incident. He was also kicked out of several apartments for, among other things, throwing his rubbish out from the balcony. Asshole for doing that. Why? I don't know. Why people got to litter? That's one of my biggest gropes in life, is people littering. Like, come on, man. Yes, I have to pick up litter as part of my job, and it grinds my gears, man, that people fucking drop litter everywhere because it fucks the planet up. And this man was fucking throwing rubbish out of his balcony. On May 23rd of 2001, Takuma voluntarily admitted himself in a psychiatric hospital for depression, but left the next day without treatment. He was also arrested for driving his car in reverse gear on the Hansen Expressway, but released after he was found mentally unfit. Now, he's mentally unfit and driving, not a good sign. If he was like discharged, or he was released and they found him mentally unfit, I'm hoping they said you can't drive anymore, because you should not have unfit people driving, because that causes even more accidents. But we're now going to go on to the actual attack, so warning for this, because it's not nice at all. So yeah, strap yourselves in. So on the 8th of June in 2001 at 10:15 a.m. local time, Takuma entered the elite Ikeda Elementary School, which was affiliated with Osaka Kyokyu University. Now, I'm just going to get an image of the school up here, because the school, Japanese schools are totally different in how they look compared to the schools over here. But it looks like a genuinely nice school. The architecture and everything, they still have this thing out the front. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like an arch, but it's very thin in the middle. And underneath that is where they have a white table and they lay flowers down in respect for the victims. But yeah, generally looks like a very nice school. I guess, I don't know if it's a posh school or not. I don't know. I can tell obviously I'm in the UK, what's a posh school, what's not. This one might just be a general normal school in terms of what I see, but it might be a posh school in Japanese standards. But the school was affiliated with the Osaka Kyokyu University. And yeah, excuse me, he was armed with a kitchen knife he just began stabbing school children and teachers at random. Just went in, kitchen knife, stabbing anyone left, right, and centre, killing 8 students aged between 7 and 8, and seriously wounding 13 other children and 2 teachers. So 7 8-year-old girls and 1 7-year-old boy. So he primarily, it seems, had just gone in and stabbed girls per preference. But whoever it was just random. He had no target for anything. It was just horrible. 2 children were killed immediately, and another 6 died at hospitals. 6 were in serious conditions. The stabbings occurred shortly after classes began in the elementary school. So, as I said, it's 10:15 a.m., classes are just starting, the kids are getting ready for a day of school. Takuma, he'd climbed into a first-grade classroom during recess and began slashing children in the back of the room, and then moved into a hallway. Several children were slashed in their sides and arms as he moved into other classrooms. Takuma was wrestled into submission by several staff members after a few minutes of rampaging and began ranting incoherent statements. He was described as being in an extremely confused state when arrested, at first repeating, quotation marks, "I went to the elementary school," and then saying, quotation marks, "I went to the train station and stabbed 100 people with my knife. I did not go to the elementary school." As he tussled with staff, school officials called the police and rushed the children out to the playground. Within minutes after the attack, a cashier at a nearby grocery said a group of terrified, bloody children ran into the store. "I saw one of them, a boy with blood all over his body," said Ikeda Iri, 23. He had been stabbed in the back. Takuma stated he, quotation marks, drank 10 times the medicine immediately after his arrest, and a subsequent medical examination was performed on him. The medicine in question turned out to be 3 types: the antipsychotic Seroquel, the antidepressant Paxil, and the benzodiazepine drug lorametazepam. Sorry, I butchered them. Those are hard to say. Even in the instance of all these medications are taken at 10 times their standard prescribed dose, they're more likely to cause somnolence or sedation, not psychotic behavior. Takuma also stated, "I've become disgusted with everything. I tried to kill myself several times but couldn't. I wanted to be caught and be given a death sentence." Takuma also expressed hatred for the affluent children who attended Ikeda Elementary School. Takuma committed the massacre the day of his court hearing for assaulting that bellhop in October 2000. Takuma admitted he targeted the school attached to the Osaka Kyokyu University because of its elite status. And I don't know if elite status means it's a posh school, or I think it maybe just means because it's attached to a university, so people are more likely after they've gone to the school have some prospects to go to that university. He told a hearing at the Osaka District Court on Tuesday, "I had a variety of reasons for targeting the school. One of them is that I wanted the public to know that even clever children of wealthy families can be killed in 5 or 6 seconds." In describing his motives, Takuma mentioned his hate of a society that places too much emphasis on education. "I don't think scholastic studies are everything in the world," he said. Days after the brutal attack, Takuma said he targeted the school out of envy at elite people. Takuma said that he also planned to attack a women's high school with a gun and ram a truck into a shopping street. He added that he decided the day before to attack the school and can't recall exactly what happened. "I don't remember how many children I stabbed," he said. So this man just attacked the school for reasons because he hates the elite and he hates society that places too much emphasis on education, and he wanted the public to know that clever children of wealthy families can be killed in 5 or 6 seconds. I mean, that's ridiculous. Anyone can be killed in 5 or 6 seconds, but I don't know why it has to be like showing the public that clever children can die. Was he making out that the public just thought, "Oh, smart children won't die easily because they'll be able to defend themselves. They're kids. They're literal kids in a school. They're not going to know how to defend themselves. They're so young, 7, 8. That's ridiculous. And I don't understand. He hates society that places too much emphasis on education. Education is fucking important. Like, in some areas, education is not put to the forefront. And yes, there's places in America where education is not great and people don't come out with any common sense or smarts. Now, I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, but having a good education system is a good thing. And I don't know why you'd want to hate on that, where they're putting too much emphasis on education. You want the next generation of people to be smart. You want your kids to be smart, be able to be successful and have a good job. And being smart and all that isn't the be-all of end-all. Your IQ level does not matter. But just having at least a decent education where you didn't feel like you were let down or you just would be as well not being at school, you know what I mean? And I've seen it before. People do the whole homeschooling because they believe they want their kids to develop that way and just don't take them to school. I've seen a few families in America where they just don't have their kids go to school and let them just discover on their own, which I guess is a pre-primal thing where the cavemen did that. But I think his fucking motives are just fucking absolutely fucking atrocious and stupid. He clearly had a mental illness. And the fact that he just entered the school and just went to town like it's some horror movie, and he's like Jason Voorhees slashing folk. That's how bad it is. He just didn't care, and he was just stabbing young kids at the start of school. It's one thing when we talk about school shootings where it's horrible for Americans that they fear going to school, that they might get shot. When I was reading this, they're young kids, 7 or 8. They don't have that fear because shootings in school aren't as prevalent, I don't think, as they are in the US. So those kids at that young age are not even having to think that, I might not make it past the start of school. And he's just gone in there and slashed them all. And they're literally just so young as well. And then he doesn't remember how many children he stabbed. And as he said, he planned to attack a women's high school with a gun and ram a truck. So if he wasn't caught, I'm assuming he was planning on doing other things. So I'm so glad that he got tasseled or taken down by the school staff and whatnot. But that must have been chaos and panic, especially for the young kids, especially because, like I mentioned, one of them was all bloodied and they came into a shop. And that must be the most horrible thing ever for that shopkeeper. He must have PTSD from just seeing a young kid come in all bloodied up, cut from the sides, and some of them just died instantly on the spot. So horrible. So in terms of the trial and execution, because he isn't alive, Takuma's lawyers argued that he was suffering from a temporary insanity at the time of the attack, but the psychiatrist who had initially diagnosed him as schizophrenic told the court he later determined that Takuma actually had paranoid personality disorder. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Paranoid personality disorder is a mental disorder characterized by paranoia and a pervasive, long-standing suspiciousness and generalized mistrust of others. Well, on the 20th of August 2003, Takuma was found guilty of multiple counts of murder and sentenced to death. Takuma remained unrepentant, refusing to apologise to the families of the victims, and asked only for the sentence to be fulfilled as fast as possible. And now this is how much of a fucking cunt he is. In court, he engaged in intentionally provocative behaviour, including yawning, shaking his body, and staring at the victims' family members. His statement was, in quotation marks, "I should have used gasoline, so I could have killed more than I did." On the last day of the trial, Takuma still expressed no guilt or remorse and continued to insult the victim's family until the judge removed him. The sentence was carried out usually quickly by Japanese standards. Condemned prisoners in Japan usually spend many years on death row. Takuma was executed at the Osaka detention house only 1 year later on the 40th of September 2004. Evil. That's how you know someone's fucking evil. I've watched court videos where they're in court and they just don't say anything, say nothing. But this man's yawning, staring at the victims. He's no guilt, no remorse. He insults the victims' families, and then that statement of him being like, "I should have used gasoline, so I could have killed more than I did."
Yeah, piece of shit.
That's fucked up. You know, in his statement, and he would have been saying that to the victims' families. Like, the disrespect. But yeah, Japan, usually they spend many years on death row, but his sentence was carried out very quickly. They obviously realised this guy's so fucked up, and himself, he wanted it done quickly. So they were probably feeding to his wishes of doing it quickly, but I'm so glad they went, yeah, this guy's so fucked up, we can't have him just even being on death row for this long. In terms of the influence, now, Takuma consistently hoped for the death penalty after the incident and was executed at an unusual speed in Japan. Since then, some people have committed crimes to be sentenced to death. Kaoru Kobayashi, who sexually assaulted and murdered 7-year-old Kiedi Ariyama in Nara in November 2004, considered Takuma to be a charismatic murderer and sought a speedy execution like him. He said, "I want to be sentenced to death as quickly as possible and leave a legacy among the public as the next Chitsumu Miyazaki or Mamoru Takuma." So this other person wanted to be quickly executed like him, and he wanted to leave a legacy among the public as the previous serial killer we covered and Takuma. But yeah, that's it. I don't know if I could have found more.
It's very hard to find a lot of info on Japanese cases, to be completely honest. You found loads for a Japanese case.
I mean, that's what happened. There might have been more in the school, but I think the tussle and it happened so quickly. Obviously, they had to act quick because he's just got into a school and started slashing young kids. But I thought this was absolutely horrible. Like, I didn't know of any cases of Japanese schools being targeted. But the fact a stabbing happened in front of young children's eyes, and the people who have survived are probably mentally scarred forever. And yeah, this just an absolute fucked up man. He definitely suffered from mental issues, and I feel like people should have noticed this. And I don't know if since then there's been more stricter rules in Japanese schools for people, because he just went in there. There was nothing to stop him. He had just had a knife, and they do continue to mourn the loss of the victims. They do well. There's an image here I've seen. They leave gifts, and they're like praying as well, and it's very sad to see. Because this is something that should not have happened. And Japanese culture is obviously different from ours in the way that they mourn stuff, but it's so sad, And it's the thing of, like, kids will still be going to that school, so they'll be told about it. Oh, there's a bunch of bells in that thing, that archway I mentioned. There's a bunch of bells, and that's maybe the school bell. But yeah, it's one of those things where I guess not as severe, but obviously maybe it's the same with your school and other schools in the UK, where an incident will happen, and then for years the school always mention that and bring that up to the future or the kids that come up to be like, this happened, we don't want it to happen again, you know what I mean? So I'm assuming it keeps getting brought up in school while they're over there saying, this tragic thing happened, we need to mourn the victims, and hopefully this never happens again. I mean, the thing for me was, I don't know about you, but in my primary school, they always, when I was very young, they basically, and probably still do this now, or maybe mention it, they said, don't be a fool, fire's not cool, we had assemblies on fire, because I was in the rebuilt version of my primary school, because previously some kid had a motorcycle, set it on fire, and then pushed it at the school, so the school burnt down. So they always told us, don't play with fire, the school burned down before, we have to rebuild it again. So, learn from the mistakes of others. But yeah, that is the case of Mamoru Takuma. evil motherfucker who went on and started a school. And hopefully there's not been any school massacres in Japan's recent times since then, and hopefully there's never any again. It's an absolutely horrible case. And Japanese people, I've probably said it before, but Japanese people can be extremely, extremely fucked up. Japan have given us so many great things, but like I said earlier, the mind and the way the Japanese people work, it's on a different level, man. Absolutely horrible. And respects to the families and the victims of this case. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Interesting. Definitely interesting. Very good coverage of this one.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
In my research, I did see there has been other shooting in train stations and stuff, but as soon as I saw School Massacre, I was like, oh no. And I should mention this now. As of 2024, it is currently the deadliest school attack in Japanese history. So hopefully there isn't a more deadly one, but it's currently the deadliest school attack in Japanese history. 8 dead, 15 injured, and yeah, the all of the victims, I should mention what the victims are, were female and second graders, except for one first grade boy. Now, hopefully I am pronouncing these correctly. They are Yuki Hongo, Mayuko Saka, Yuka Kiso, Ayano Morawaki, Maki Sakai, Takahiro Totsuka, who was the only boy to die in the attack, Hana Tetsakamoto, and Rina Yamashita. Hopefully I'm saying that right. That's why when I did the translate, in Japanese the names are backwards, so when you go and translate, this is last name and then the first name, but that is all of the victims. And yeah, super young, super young, and they did they did not die. Oh, actually there is some more in here. Where are we? Oh yes, so I have just found some other information while I'm here. So the attack is currently the 6th largest mass murder, along with the Matsumoto incident in recent Japan history, exceeded in fatalities only by the Tokyo subway siren attack, the Osaka movie theater fire, the Sagamihara stabbings, the Kyoto animation arson attack, and the Myojo 56 burning fire. At the time, it was tied with the Matsumoto siren attack as a second deadliest behind the Tokyo subway siren attack. The incident sets itself apart, however, by the age of the victims, its venue being school, and the perpetrator's history of mental illness. Because of these factors, the attack raised questions about Japan's social policies for dealing with mental illness, the rights of the victims and criminals, and the accessibility and security of Japanese schools. After the attack, Yoshio Yamani, the principal administrator of the school, announced that it would bring in a security guard, and at the time, unheard of practice at a Japanese school. Was an unheard practice at the time, so they were giving security guards now. J-pop artist Hikaru Utada rearranged her song Distance in honor of Reina Yamashita, one of the murdered schoolgirls, because of an essay contest the girl had won, talking about how she respected and wanted to be like Utada, renaming it Final Distance. Some children, faculty, and parents developed post-traumatic stress disorder. So yeah, they did get PTSD. And that song, finally listening to the song by Japanese recording artist Hikaru Utada for a third studio album, Deep River, written by herself. The song was produced. First Distance was originally recorded as Distance, which was taken from the album the same name, despite not being a single. The song was re-recorded, rearranged, and dedicated to Rina Yamashita, a 6-year-old victim of the Ikeda School Massacre, who had written an essay about being inspired by Utada. Utada stated that the meaning of the word final for the song's Final Distance is most important rather than last. So yeah, just found out that, so I'm glad I added that in there. But yeah, they got PTSD, and turns out they actually have upped their security in schools by having a security guard, which nuts. I mean, the schools I went to, and your one as well, probably Lauren, I don't think you had a security guard there.
No.
So must be horrible now that they have to have that because of this, and they never want to have it again. But it's the 6th largest mass murder. But there's a ton of other mass murders in that listing there that I'm going to probably cover at some point. But yeah, currently the deadliest school attack in Japanese history, and we do not want one any more deadlier.
No, we do not. That is for certain, we do not. But yeah, thank you for covering this week. It was very interesting. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed it, and we hope to see you guys next week with another episode. Bye.
Bye.